I'm not the best at anything. I'm not gifted. I'm just driven. I'm a guy that came from nothing. Anybody's capable of doing shit like this. Anybody. And I sat in that tub. She put the water on me. She called my mom up. And my mom was dating a doctor at the time. The doctor said, you need to get him to a hospital now. She came back in. All I wanted to do was call Chris Costman on the phone, the race director of Badwater, and said, I fucking did it. So she said, I'm taking you to the doctor. I said, no, let me sit here and enjoy this pain. She said, what are you talking about? I said, you know, I need to go to the doctor. I realized that. But I never thought it was humanly possible to do what I did. I went 70 miles. And at 70 miles, I was dead. I was at 100%. What I thought was 100%. I went 31 more miles after being in the worst physical shape I've ever been in my life. And all that pain and suffering and thing was going through my fucking body as I sat in that tub and the waters hit me. And it was the most amazing feeling of accomplishment. I did this. And as crazy as it sounds, it was the most amazing moment of my entire life. To come from this kid who was mentally torturing himself and was tortured, it's all to this guy now, who was able to overcome such amazing odds and obstacles. And I called Chris Costman up, the race director of Badwater, and he said, the idea of a 24-hour race is to run 24 hours. You only ran 19. And he put doubt in my mind that he would let me into Badwater. 2 weeks later, roughly, December 5th, was this marathon that we all signed up for. I couldn't walk. I could not walk. I ran 100 miles before I ran a marathon. 10 days or 2 weeks after this 100 mile in one race I did, this marathon, December 5th in Las Vegas. That gun went off 2005. 14 days after, I broke myself off and I qualified for the Boston Marathon. I ran 3:08. The gun went off and that thing came back. Like, all right, man, what if? And then I went to the Hurt 100, race in Hawaii, 26,000 feet of climbing over 100 miles. Probably one of the top 5 hardest 100-mile races in the world. Went out there and got through the race. Did it in 33 hours, was the 9th place finisher, and I qualified for Badwater and got in. And I went on to lose weight and train hard, and I got 5th my first year and went back my second year and got 3rd.
What is the most amount of miles you've ever run?
At one time?
Yeah.
205 in 39 hours.
Wow.
Yep, nonstop. I'm not the best at anything. I'm not gifted. I'm just driven. Out of the 100 men that go into war, 10 shouldn't even fucking be there. 80 of them are just targets. 9 do most of the fighting. 1 is a warrior. And it's a true quote to life. I saw it going through training. I saw it everywhere I went. There's so many people who just show up to life that shouldn't even fucking be around. And there's few people who do all the work. I wanted to be part of that 9, and I'm working towards being that 1. And that's just how I live my life.
There's something about talking to a guy like you that a lot of people hope that you're gonna say some magic thing that's gonna click in their brain. What you're saying is that you have to do those things. You have to suffer, you have to live in it, you have to be comfortable in it, and then maybe some of that shit will help you a little bit along the way.
You know what? I grew up not that guy.
Yeah.
So a lot of people put a title on me. They want to, they see me now. They see me now as the guy that with his shirt off, who can do 4,030 pull-ups in 17 hours, who can run 205 miles in 39 hours, who can do all this crazy shit. But what they don't understand is they don't understand the journey that it took me to get to this point. And what got me to this point was I was just the opposite of what I am today. I was that guy who ran away from absolutely everything that I got in front of me. I wanted to quit so badly, but I quit everything in my life. I copied through school. I wanted to prove people wrong. And so here I am in this Air Force program, starting to get a little more confidence, but this water was kicking my ass. And 6 weeks into the program, the doctor gave me to read about how we can quickly get somewhere That's why the 6-minute abs and all sort of shit so powerful. You may get some results from it, but they're not permanent. The permanent result comes from you. I say it all the time. You have to suffer. You have to make that a tattoo on your brain so when that hard time comes again, you don't forget it. I'm big on being with yourself. I believe all these cameras and phones and shit, it takes you away from the most powerful thing in the world, which is your fucking mind. And I'm constantly trying to put goals in front of me, but the biggest thing is I'm trying to find more of myself. And the only way I can find more is to silence the world out as much as I can, because it's getting busier every day. It's getting faster. And the faster it gets, the more you are missing who the fuck you are. I put my phone away, I put shit away, and I go dark. I go dark a lot, and it's because I have to find out, I'm on a journey of life. And we all have a different journey. And we all like to take this 4-lane highway, the easy highway. It has fucking signs, it has restaurants. We all love that 4-lane highway. We always step over the shovel. And all I did was I picked up that fucking shovel, and that shovel, I made my own path. And you may have big boulders and shit. They may be getting 200 miles up the road faster than you. But going through this path of life, this journey over here that you make yourself, that's incredibly difficult. What comes out the other end of that motherfucker is some glorious shit that you can't even explain to people. And we're afraid. It's easier to accept the fact that I'm just not good enough. Nah, man, I mean, I fucking know for a fact that you can be this fucked up dude, like really fucked up dude, and with the right mindset, you can. You can, but you have to go into those dark chambers that we often shut off, and you gotta open them up.
There's not some easy, lit up, street-like
right.
path with nice smooth roads.
That's right. It's a difficult motherfucker where you're gonna fail, and you're gonna be in your head, you're gonna be saying, I'm not good enough. And it's how you get through that. It's how you get through that on a daily basis when that thing is saying, man, I'm 43, I've done so much. You start to become civilized. The refrigerator gets full. You start making money, and you start, I'm not getting cold anymore. I'm retired. At 40, people shouldn't be playing basketball or football or being in, you start to believe this shit. There's people who are retiring, at 40-something years old or 30-something years old. At 43, I'm still putting 100-mile weeks, still doing thousands of pull-ups, thousands of push-ups, because I'm not allowing myself to become civilized. The worst thing that can happen to a man is become civilized. You want to be uncommon amongst uncommon people, period. You start putting yourself in situations that suck, you'll find yourself. I didn't have a motherfucker come wake me up at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning and say, hey, you gotta get your shit in. I had no trainer. I didn't have a nutritionist. It was the self-discipline that I had to survive, to not survive, I was weak, to thrive. No one said, hey man, you're 297 pounds, man. I wanna help you out. I'm gonna help, hey man, you're not smart. I'm gonna help you out. I had to work at all this shit. I had to overcome, and it self-disciplines everything. And if you don't have it, I don't look at you right, because I know you're capable of more. It's not discipline so much for me. It's all on you. It's all on you. The self part is what's big. We need someone to hold people accountable. Fuck that shit, man. Fuck that shit. We count on people too much to get us through shit. And we look to our right, we look to our left, we're looking for help. And if you can build that self, you can build that total accountability in oneself, I want you to see how fucking far you can go. And that's all it's about, yourself. And that's where it all comes from. So I'm slowly trying to build this brand to the point where I can slowly, hopefully make people from motivated to driven, because motivation is crap. It's shit. People right now, maybe listen to this shit, they'll be motivated to go run. If it's cold somewhere where they're at, a lot of motherfuckers will shut that door, go back inside. That's motivation. It comes and go as how you feel. I like a motherfucker whose life is imploded, ain't got shit in life, and says, still gotta fucking get after it today, man. That's what it's about. So that's when you move from motivation to driven to obsessed. And I want people to realize once you get to this portion over here, the driven obsessed part, you're unstoppable. I'm driven. I'm obsessed. And that's what you see. I hope that this story can change somebody's life. Not to be me, because it ain't about me. And I try to be as real as I can, because we're all fucking suffering in this world. We're all hurting. And I try to take away all titles you want to give me, let you know that I did not come from that shit. That's why I have to be so authentic and so real about my own insecurities, my own faults, just being a fucked up person. And it's all about trying to share that message with people. I'm not the best at anything. I'm not gifted. I'm just driven.
You are a guy that, for a lot of people, you sort of embody the idea of hardening your mind and figuring out a way to do things that most people think are impossible. How'd you become that guy?
You know what? I grew up not that guy.
Yeah.
So a lot of people put a title on me. They see me now. They see me now as the guy that, with his shirt off, who can do 4,030 pull-ups in 17 hours, who can run 205 miles in 39 hours, who can do all this crazy shit. But what they don't understand is they don't understand the journey that it took me to get to this point. And what got me to this point was I was just the opposite of what I am today. I was that guy who ran away from absolutely everything that I got in front of me. In my mind, I was always afraid. My whole life I was afraid, but I had this fucking voice, this conscience that would always be battling me, saying, hey, you gotta get up and do something. I didn't want to do shit. You know, I was just afraid. And I started finding things that was comfortable. And the more things I found comfortable, the more uncomfortable my mind was. Because that voice I was telling you about, it always was there. I was just trying to avoid that conscience. I wanted to be left alone from that conscience, and it wouldn't leave me alone. And the shit haunted me. And that voice that I talked about, it kept talking louder and louder and louder, but I was doing nothing about it. And I decided to make moves. I had blamed so many fucking people in my life, my dad, my mom for not being there. Everybody was to blame. My learning disability, my skin color, everything. And so I sat there for a while, and I was like, man, no one's gonna fucking come to help me. No one's gonna fucking come to help me. It's fucking me against me, period. And so I had to man up. And I said, the first thing I gotta start doing is facing every fucking fear I have. I had two options: to either be that 300-pound guy who sprayed for cockroaches and made $1,000 a month, and at 24 years old, knowing when I'm 50 fucking years old, I can reflect on this and think about what guy I never became, or I can totally just sack it up and fail and fail and fail until I succeed. And I started working out like somebody. I became the most obsessed person on the planet Earth. I had to invent a guy that didn't exist. I had to invent a guy that can take any pain, any suffering, any kind of judgment, be called nigger, be called whatever the fuck in the world, and be able to stand in the fucking room and say, go fuck yourself. I had to build this callous mind, and I built it through suffering. I built it through downright fucking just crushing myself. If it was raining outside at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning, if it was snowing, the first instinct is don't go out there and do shit. My instinct was, we gotta fucking go out there. Anything that was fucking horrible in my life that I would normally say no, that was inhumane to most people, I had to go do it. And I started callousing my mind at this point in my life. I went through 3 Navy SEAL Hell Weeks in 1 year. Only guy to ever be in 3 Hell Weeks in 1 year, to my knowledge. The first one I didn't make it through, the next 2 I did. And I didn't stop anymore from there. And I started realizing through this process that the fucking mind is what you created. And I started opening different doors that I didn't think were even there, that I didn't think even existed. And the more doors I opened up, the more I started realizing that my potential is damn near endless. I wanted to feel something besides defeat. I wanted to just go the distance. And that going the distance pushed me to a point of where now I go way past the distance. I started being able to take negative shit and be happy. I was like, man, what story would it be if my fucking fat, dumb, lying to be friends with people, insecure ass can overcome this shit? And that what if mentality, like that dreamer mentality, just would always fuel me. It would just fuel me, man, what if I can be What if I can be a SEAL, man? What if I can go from running a quarter of a fucking mile, now I run 205 miles? What if I can go? What if I can go? And what if, how would that feel? I wanted to be a man that detests mediocrity. I wanted to be uncommon amongst uncommon people. I wanted to be the guy, I don't care if you fucking like me, I don't care if you don't understand me. I didn't give a fuck. I'm a warrior, period. There's a lot of guys that have been in a lot more combat than me. A warrior is not always that. A warrior is a motherfucker who says, hey, I'm here again today. I'm here again tomorrow. I'm gonna be here the next day. I'm 50 years old, I'm still fucking getting after it. It's a person that puts no fucking limit on what's possible. For too long in my life, and it got me in trouble. For too long in my life, I wanted to be accepted. Growing up, I lied, I fucking did what I could. If you fucking like UFC and I didn't, I love it. I love it, man. Let's go fucking watch it, man. Be my friend, be my buddy. That fucking weak ass shit. I found out through this path of life, who is David Goggins? Who am I? I did it alone. There was no fucking trophy on the fucking wall on the mantle. That trophy's in my fucking brain. No one helped me get there. No one paid my fucking bills. No one did shit for me. No one ran those fucking miles, lost that fucking weight. I suffered on my own and developed this man who said, it's who I am, man. You're gonna have to fucking suffer, man. Man, you're gonna have to fucking suffer to go from this fat, insecure motherfucker to one of the best guys on the planet Earth. This journey is gonna take something that is gonna be incomprehensible to most people. I want to be able to look back on my life when I'm all dead and be so fucking proud of myself forever. This is all temporary shit to me. I want to be forever proud of who I was as a man and change who I used to be. The liar, the insecure guy, the guy who can, whatever. I want to be proud. If I die now, if I die at 80, if I die at 90, 100, I want to look at myself and say, proud of myself.
That is the thing, right? And that's one of the things that I've gotten from paying attention to you is that what you're preaching, what you're talking about is finding yourself through struggle.
That's it. It's the only way to find yourself. If you like bench pressing and you bench press all the fucking time, what are you finding out? If you like to swim, that's all you want to do is swim, what are you finding out? People talk about triple down on your fucking strengths.
Right.
That's the fucking weakest shit in the world. No, triple down on your fucking weaknesses.
Yeah.
Find out something about yourself. I'm gonna tell you how you can help yourself get through the times that suck. Real life. This is real life. 90% of your life will suck. 10% will be fucking happy. I turn negatives into positives. So I would take it like, who would even think about doing this? Who had the balls to fucking man up, quit a job, and go and just put everything on himself? So it's how I started talking to myself and putting myself in a whole different category, and that would fuel me the next day, and I just kept using that as fuel and fuel. No one would do this shit. No one would do this shit. You're the baddest motherfucker around. You're the baddest motherfucker ever lived. And I just kept fueling me with the right kind of message that I needed to hear that I was never telling myself. And through time, it became reality. I failed, I go back to scratch. I use some positive motivation. I have like one day where I'm like fucking defeated. But I started realizing this is part of the process. This is part of the journey. I had to realize this is part of my process versus just saying, like I used to, I'm just not good enough. If I'm not good enough, we always say that shit. I'm just not good enough, and then we try something else. I'm gonna fucking make myself good enough. And that became my mentality. I'm gonna make myself good enough. And I just became obsessed with it. It just became just a process of grinding and grinding, and grinding is not even a good word for it. It's not even a good word for it. So what keeps me going? I've quit several things. I know what's on the back end of fucking quitting. It's a lifetime of thinking about why the fuck did I do that? And I ain't fucking doing that no more. Tell yourself the truth. If someone calls you fucking fat, they may be bullying you, but you might be fucking fat. Someone calls you dumb, it's mean, but you might be fucking dumb. It's life, man. Take it for what it's worth and change it.
And that terrible feeling when someone does tell you that you're fat, you can use that as fuel.
As fuel, period.
Well, you said something that I think of when I run, and it's that most people quit at 40%.
So I came up with this thing called the 40% rule. It's basically where it's like a car. You put a governor on a car, and let's say the car can go 130. That governor stops the car at 91. And you're driving thinking, man, I want to fucking floor it, but I can't go any faster. We do that to our brain. We put a governor on our brain. The second we feel pain, discomfort, suffering, all those words that we hate to say because we're in this happy, peaceful world we live in now, we stop. We slow down. And if you can get through these different barriers and gain 5%, 2%, 3%, that 40% becomes 60. That 60% becomes 70, 80, and 90. And then you'll hopefully one day near 100. I don't know many people who are probably at 100. We think we're there, but there's so much more. A lot of us, when we have bad times in life, even the hardest person in the world, we forget how badass we are during that hard time. I have a thing where I take a couple seconds to reflect on, hang on, man, you've been through this, you've been through that, you overcame this, overcame that. I don't ever close my mind to the fact that this can be done. The fucking mind is what you created. And I started opening different doors that I didn't think were even there, that I didn't think even existed. And the more doors I opened up, the more I start realizing that my potential is damn near endless. Get back to fucking work. It's time to get back to work. Stop hearing yourself talk. Get off the podcast. Don't be on social media too much. Cut out all the fucking noise. Get back to the fucking mental lab, because that's where the knowledge came from. I built Goggins from the ground up. I was born David Goggins. David Goggins wasn't good enough. He was a scared, bullied, abused kid who struggled in life. That kid, whenever something got tough, no matter how hard I trained, no matter how ready I was, whenever something got tough for me, David Goggins, the real David Goggins, would come out and he would quit. So I had to build Goggins. And in that process, I had to go back to that mental lab. And that mental lab is at scratch. That mental lab is in that trained humility. That's where I get better. I get better when I'm digging holes in the ground, when I'm waking up early knowing I don't have to do these things. That's where I get better. Most people think I'm just some animal who runs and yells and just says fuck and motherfuck all the time. And that's nowhere near the truth. That's maybe what they see in a 1-minute video, and that's what people believe, but there's a lot of thought behind a person being a born loser becoming who I am today. You don't just wake up and just rocky the shit. You gotta wake up and think about, there's a process to getting better, and that process is never finished. There's very few people in this world who want to do a job like that. And it takes a different kind of mindset. I don't expect anybody to understand it, but 1%. But the loud voices of this world are the 99% who don't understand exactly what you have to do. That's why when I speak and you don't understand me, it's probably a good thing. Because that probably means I'm in an area of life that you're not in, which is fine. Unless you've been there and done that, and you really can't speak about it. Unless you're in those situations that are so hard that it takes a special human being to get through them.
What do you think most people get wrong about motivation?
They think it's a permanent fix. They think it's something that is a constant. They think that maybe once I get it, I'm gonna hold on to it. Nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent. And a lot of times you have to learn to perform without motivation. You have to learn to perform without purpose. You have to learn to perform a lot of different things. And that's what people think. They think I need to have this motivation to work out, to study, to be better. So if they don't have it, they just don't fucking do it. And that's where you fail. You have to learn to train your mind well beyond motivation. If you have motivation, that's great. That's some kindling to the fire. All it takes is a little bit of fucking spark, you can burn the whole forest up. But motivation, you have to learn to exist without it. You have to be your best self when you're least motivated. And that's the tricky part about all that shit. Motivation is just a word. You have to have these different things in your mind on where you want to go and know that motivation is not going to get me there. Because I'm not going to always be motivated. At the end of the day, I ask myself one question: can I take one more step? And usually the answer is yes. So if you can answer that question and not take another step, that is real failure. That is real quitting. So a lot of people can take one more step, but they choose not to. I don't know if you can take 2 steps. You got to answer that question after you take the first step. But I can always take one more step. So if I choose not to, that's on me. And I gotta live with that. Hardness, mental hardening, mental toughness, it's a perishable skill. Just because you went through some training once and you got through it, doesn't mean it lasts fucking forever. And that's where most people hated me in my life, because I realized that. You don't just say, oh, I got it, I'm checked off, I'm good for the rest of my life. That's why you have to recall. You recall on fucking everything. And you definitely must recall when it comes to the mind. That is one of the biggest requalifications you must have. And when you're at that level, you gotta recall every fucking day, not once a year. You're not done yet, motherfucker. Get your ass back out there. We have more left. We can still push harder. We're not there yet. Is this the new level? Is this the new push? What's amazing about the human mind is that it becomes your new norm. Like to think that I can run 200 miles, 240 miles, and that becomes like running 50. I never thought that was possible. This is why I'm always pushing that limit, because I know that within pushing these limits, there's always more. I'm trying to build people up. I'm trying to armor their mind. I'm trying to get them the belief, because this world we live in is tough. It's tough. It will beat you down. The world and the life that we live in is the ultimate competitor. It will try to take you out. It will find your weakness and it will fucking just hammer you 100%. So if I can help you build belief, build confidence to the point where nothing can hurt you because you know exactly who you are. Being ashamed is one of the biggest things that kill people nowadays. In their minds, kill them from moving forward. I'm ashamed of myself. Don't ever be ashamed of anything you've done in your life. Face it, fix it, make it better. You have to build a person that can withstand the pressures of whatever they're going to be dealing with in life. I'm not trying to send a message of run 200 miles, be the baddest motherfucker in the world, but be tough. You better have a part about you that's tough, a part about you that can break down situations and get better, and break down situations very quickly within some trauma in your life, some devastation in your life, because it's going to come. The devastation, the trauma is going to come, and you can't allow that to become a Jersey barrier. It can't be a Jersey barrier. It has to be something that you can maneuver through very quickly and move forward. That takes a lot of toughness.
Unchosen suffering is going to happen, right? So the only thing that you can do is have some chosen suffering to prepare for it.
It's the only thing you can do. That's the only thing you can practice for the unchosen suffering, is have chosen suffering. Do something that sucks every day. Your mind takes control of you. You have to say, fuck you, I run this motherfucker. And that's what that's all about. I really love that about life. I love mastering self. I love it. There's nothing more, because I know where I came from, and it's amazing that where I came from, that person could have died. That very fat, lazy, unfulfilled person. And within inside that person was this person talking to you. It's very freaky to me. And a lot of us have these two people that you have greatness way over here, but you decide to live in this space over here. Because between this space here and greatness, there's a lot of fucking work. There's so much space to fill in with work. And we just say, fuck it. I'll just stay over here in this space. When you go to war with yourself, you find a lot of peace, because you know exactly who you are. And that is where the peace is really found for me. Your mind takes control of you. You have to say, fuck you, I run this motherfucker. And that's what that's all about. Discipline is great. Motivation is great. But if you can't fit shit in your brain because it's all fucking cluttered with shit, there's no discipline. You may have it sometimes when it fits in that crowded garage of your mind, but you don't have the consistency that you need to have with that discipline. I call it mental zones. Is you're organizing your mind so you can put that discipline. So a lot of people talk about discipline. Okay, great. Why do you fall off the fucking wagon? Why can't I continue with this routine going to the gym, being better, waking up early, eating the right foods, it's because maybe it's your kids, maybe it's your wife, maybe it's your job, and it's all just stuffed in your fucking brain. You don't have it compartmentalized and organized in these nice shelves. Like you look in the garage, a nice organized militant garage, hey, where are my dumbbells? Right there. A lot of people whose brain, hey, where's my dumbbells? Let me look. They're fucking throwing shit, they're looking through totes, they're all fucked up. So where am I gonna put discipline in that mind if I can't find other shit? You gotta be able to find all these different things in your mind. Oh, I can put discipline right there. I can put consistency right there. I can put all these things right there in that spot. So that's what I'm talking about. If your life is not organized, and your life being everything around you, because it takes one little fucked up piece of an outside interference to clutter your whole mind. And people don't get that. Your mind has to always be clear. That's why I meditate 2 hours every single night, because I refresh, I reorganize the garage, which is my mind, every night. So then discipline's in there, organization, everything is in its right spot. So when I wake up, I'm ready to go.
What does a morning look like for you at the moment? Have you got a routine of some kind?
Yes, I run every single morning. I'm up about 5:30. So every morning starts with a run. And that's because that's the one thing I hate to do more than anything in the world. And I'm all about armoring yourself. So the second you leave your house, and the second you open your phone, the second you do any of that shit, you are now letting in poison and cancer. So as I get up, I start to armor plate my mind and body. Like a person's going to war, you put your body armor on. That's what I'm doing on that run. I'm waking up and I'm giving myself all this armor. So when I come out in the world, look at that phone, I'm ready. I'm not waking up late. I'm not rushing around. I'm not disorganized, because I know I'm gonna get hit in the fucking mouth. There's an art to getting hit in the fucking mouth. And that is why these things are important. You have to wake up and you must build belief. You must build confidence. What works for me is that everyday resume, the things I know I've accomplished, the things I know I've done, real hard work, the real calluses on my mind, the real calluses on my hands. That's it. You don't need to pound your chest in the mirror fuck anymore if you have that. Like for me, I came from a bad place. How I build belief is through the daunting tasks I put myself through. And that's how this piece of shit kid that I once thought I was built belief by saying, I was in 3 Hell Weeks. I went to Ranger School. I tried out for Delta Selection.
Undeniable stack of proof.
That is proof, motherfucker. So whenever you think you can't, the confidence comes from the thing that you built. It can't be like, hey, I'm gonna go knock that shit out. You gotta look over here and say, I can knock that shit out. It's belief, and it's built on what you put in to yourself. So many of us come from these small places in our mind that we're not willing to think outside of only what we've seen. Our mind works in such a small compartment. And one thing I was able to do was to dream, but don't make dreams your fucking master. But I was able to dream outside those fucking 4 walls of that small town. And until you're able to really put yourself into that dream, but don't make dreams your master, that's where you truly become what you're destined to become. A lot of people sit back and they dream about being a sports figure, or dream about being a SEAL, or dream about being an astronaut, and all it is a motherfucking dream. They don't put the work behind the dream. That dream has become their fucking master. When you become the master of your fucking dream is when you say, I want to go be a Navy SEAL, and you say, okay, I'm gonna lose 106 pounds in less than 3 fucking months. The dream was the one thing I thought about, and the dream was now gone. Now, what comes in, the dream goes away, and the fucking laundry list of fucking details and tasks come up. Gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this. That's when you become the master of your dream.
Ryan Holiday says, talking about the thing and doing the thing vie for the same resources. Allocate yours appropriately.
That's it. It feels good to talk about that shit, man. It actually makes you feel good, makes you feel proud, all that shit. But guess what happens? That alarm clock goes off at 4 a.m. to train. I don't want to be a SEAL today. Or I don't want to be whatever today. I'll start tomorrow. And that's the usual pattern of people's lives. That's why until you really want to do something, you're always going to be a talker. You're always going to run your fucking mouth. Everything I need is in my mental lab. Everything. Because I'm in constant study of myself. And I know what needs to be conquered because I'm constantly going through what I don't like, what I'm not comfortable with. I know, and only I can fix these problems because I have to face these problems. One day that thing's going to come up. And if you're not constantly performing without purpose, you're not going to be ready when the time comes. It's this magical thing, purpose, that we're all looking for. But what's funny about it all is that we need these things to perform. But we don't take a second to realize the purpose is always there. The purpose never leaves us because the very purpose is you. You are always the purpose. There may be another purpose, like being a SEAL or going to college or whatever, but the main purpose in life is you. So if you wake up in the morning and you don't want to do something, you don't care enough about yourself. And that's what you need to really research is, man, why am I not doing this for myself? Because that is the number one purpose in life, is to better oneself. So that's the only purpose I fucking need. There's so many people that have the ability and just refuse to get off that couch. Refuse to study a few more hours. Refuse to go deeper, to go further. And that's where I gain the advantage. It's so easy to be great nowadays, my friend, because most people are weak. Most people don't want to go to that extra mile. Most people don't want to find that extra because it sucks. It's miserable. It's lonely. And that used to hurt me growing up. Now I fucking thrive in that shit. That's the only place to be. A lot of people wonder, how did you become this? How did you become so vulnerable? How are you doing a podcast now when you were this kid? You overcame things. You fought them. And now this is what happens. This is on the other side of overcoming. You become very, very powerful when you overcome yourself. You have to want it. You have to want to be better. And it starts off with, you have to have pride in yourself. You have to have pride in yourself. You have to have, there's something about you, whether it's your last name, whether it's just the smallest thing, you have to be proud of yourself. And if you have no pride in yourself, I can't give it to you.
Because you're always going to compromise. You're always going to fold.
It's that pride that wakes you up. Now I'm not talking about bad pride. The attention to detail for the human being I want to do. I call this thing, like, I want to be the standard. I want to be that guy. Like, every place I went in the military, there was this ethos about how this place is, how we're going to live, how we're going to represent ourselves. And I walked around and I saw that most people didn't live up to that ethos. Like, if you go to whatever company, they had this mission statement on how we want to run our company. I made one for myself on how I want to be. And that is why, if people can make up a mission statement, an ethos in which they want to live by, and every morning you wake up, you hold yourself accountable to that mission, not a company's, your own. Make up your own mission statement. What do you want to be in life? And once you do that, now you can work with somebody to get better. You can work with yourself to get better. But until you know what you want to stand for, you will always just be sitting down. You'll never stand for anything.
Received orders given, expect results.
That's it. That is, for me, what Roger that means.
Received orders given.
Yep.
Expect results.
Expect results.